Okay, last video for today. We got another resume review request. I think Joshua had posted online. I reached out and said I'd be able to give some tips or some observations, maybe just a second pair of eyes. And he reached out. He responded. He said, "Hey Matthew, I'm currently going through the link you sent me and was wondering if I could get some feedback on my current resume. I revised this a few weeks ago and was wondering if I had done a good job in doing so. I put the resume Word doc at the bottom of the page so you could download it." Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we're going to check out the website here. Okay, right on. So let's check this out here. Joshua Neves. Oh man, I don't like that font. Okay. All right, there's a lot to talk about here. There is a lot to talk about there, but let's start at the resume. Okay. Yikes. All right, Joshua, there's a lot going on here. It's really busy. You could look at, I was literally just looking at a resume, which, are you a UIX designer? Oh my God, you are as well. Okay. Well, you know what? This might actually be useful then, because we just looked at another designer on the show, and let me show you these two resumes side by side. I know my head's probably covering half of it, but we got to start here, my friend. This resume, there's way too much going on. Okay. Just the first impressions are it doesn't look good, Joshua. It looks pretty ugly compared to Rowan's over here, which is very clean. It's got a consistent font and a color scheme. We've got more colors here. We've got several different fonts, it looks like, and there's so much more words. Everything's really squeezed. I think what you've done here is you've created a two-panel layout, right? You've got this sort of dark section on the left, and then on the right, you've got everything else. And the result of splitting the page, maybe not halfway, but a third or somewhere around halfway, is that you have a lot less space to put in your bullet points. And the result is they're all getting hamburgered, right? They're all getting really squeezed together, and it results in what looks like some real blocks of text here. It doesn't look good. The stuff on the left-hand side, I don't think was worth the space either. There's not a lot of really valuable stuff going on here. So it's going to take some time, but we could work on this together, okay? And so I'll just give some of my ideas. Okay, let's begin. First of all, Joshua Neves should command more attention than About Me. Right now, About Me, though it is on the right, is actually, it may be larger on the page, but it's certainly darker, and it's also higher, which conveys importance, right? Normally the line item, the most important thing, comes at the top. And so I don't like that. I don't like how important that seems. So so this says, creator of experiences filled, and again, a whole paragraph in bold? Why? Right? We bold things for emphasis. So to have the whole paragraph in bold, it just seems a little bit silly. You don't need to emphasize a whole paragraph, right? Let's emphasize a word here and there, right? But the whole paragraph, it's a little ridiculous. Creator of experiences filled with passion is the name of my game. Okay. It's the name of my game. I got to say, that comes across really cheesy. I don't like that wording at all. Let's kill it. And I appreciate you sending me this in a Word document so I can give interactive feedback and sort of workshop it here. But I will say that when you do put the resume online, it should be in a non-editable format, almost definitely a PDF. That's the format we want to look at here. And I also think we're going to talk a little bit about content here. I'm not going to talk a lot about design. And that's a frustrating thing because as a UI UX designer, or a game designer in general, you're going to be strictly evaluated on your design in everything you do. Your portfolio, certainly, and the portfolio website we could talk about if we have time today, but it doesn't look good. And that's going to be evaluated, right? So what I've seen actually happen very often is I'll be working with students. This happened just recently, where I was working with somebody. I gave him some feedback, um, and he thought about it for a while. He came back to me and he said, Matthew, I came up with a thought that dramatically changed my whole outlook on the portfolio and resume, and the result spoke for itself. The result he came back with, it looked way better, and he said all I had to do was I thought of designing my website or designing my portfolio as if I was designing one of my games. Because this guy was a great game designer. His portfolio and his resume though, they look like shit. And he said I just had to think of it as if I was designing a game or a user interface for maybe a menu in the game or something like that. And that really helped me put it all together. So if that's a useful outlook for you, then certainly take that. But the idea here is that we're going to be evaluated on every design we put in front of this evaluation team, right? And so the resume is certainly a factor, right? If we have an ugly looking website, and right now your website does look ugly, they're not going to have great confidence in you as a UI designer. So we need to fix that. We need to address that. Okay, that's my biggest concern. It's just on optics, because you might have tremendous. It looks like you actually do have some really cool work experience here, which is interesting, right? So we just looked at a resume where somebody didn't have a lot of experience, but their resume looked pretty nice and trim, right? Whereas here I think we're going to be on the opposite spectrum, where we've got a really qualified candidate, somebody who probably has a lot of experience for an entry-level role, but maybe is not as effective at showing it, right, in the resume and the portfolio and stuff like that. So that's going to be, I think, our focus in this video. So I designed for the people I want to engage others in escapism and serenity in my work, alongside other skilled and talented individuals. I'm game if you are. I mean, it's fun, but it comes across a little bit, I think, not very professional. I think, I don't think you need it. Frankly, it doesn't tell me anything useful. There is some times where having it about me on the resume is really useful, particularly if people have questions, right? So somebody might have a question like, why is somebody who majored in fashion applying for a game design position? That's a really great opportunity for you to explain yourself in the about me. For you to say, hey, I have a degree in fashion, but I have been a fan of video games my whole life, and I've been creating indie games on my own in between my classes since middle school, right? That's a valuable thing to convey that might have a great place in the about me, but maybe not fit so well in work experience. So that makes a reason for you to have this section. But nobody's coming to this resume asking, is this guy game? Or, does he want to engage people in escapism and serenity? I don't think they would assume that, right? But it just seems vapid. I don't think we need it. I think it's distracting from some really badass experience you have down here, which should be front and center. The other thing is you've got, your address. Thankfully, you don't have your home here, but you've got the city and your phone number. Here's the thing. If you're applying to a place in Connecticut, then who gives a shit if you live in Florida? You know what I'm saying? So I think delete it. The phone number, delete it. They're not going to give you a call, right? The only thing you might need here is your website. Okay, so you've got that. Great. You may not even need your email, but a lot of people have their email on their resume, and I think it's totally reasonable to do so. But I don't think you need that. And hey, you know what? A little thing for the website, you could try to just do this. Makes it look a little bit more beautiful. You don't need all that HTTP crap in there, right? We're going to try to be reducing word count here. But if you can reduce character count too, hey, all towards the same purpose. Portfolio, email, hey, who's going to look at this text and think, oh shit, that's a phone number? Fucking no one, right? Of course it's an email. It says @Gmail. So fuck that. Delete it. Portfolio, obviously, delete it. You know what I'm saying here? We want to reduce the word count. We want to reduce everything. Just keep it nice and simple. So, just take that and maybe, put it up there or something. Take your name over here, maybe bring that front and center or something. Just have it bigger if you want to keep this design. I think this design's pretty bad. I think you should consider using like an online template or something like that. There's probably a lot of good templates you could just pop in there. I do have a link to a few, and because I do think it would be helpful for you, I'm going to recommend you check out my guide, which is specifically on how to write a resume, because I think there is some common mistakes I'm already seeing here. So that guide is right here. Okay, mrventures.net/all-tutorials/creating a resume. I talk about some of the things you want to do here. I include a link to a bunch of really dope templates, like this thing, right? Nice, clean, proper. And this is all free, by the way, all free. 150 free templates, right? Just choose one of those and put your stuff into that, because I think that's going to look a lot better than what you've got here. You may have designed this on your own, but I think it makes a little bit more sense for you to use a template in this case. And then the other thing which this guide is going to provide you with is just some experiences of seeing a before and after, which I think could be really helpful for you. So for example, this is a guy named Scott, friend of mine. Here's his resume before, here's it after, right? And I think just in looking at the before and after, you're gonna observe some tips and tricks that you could use in your own resume, right? For example, using iconography, like this little telephone symbol to represent the phone, or the thing for the email, right? That goes a long way to making the resume kind of look nice, like it was a web page or something you were designing for a video game. Some strong outlining and stuff like that. I think that's all really helpful. And it looks a lot better than what essentially looks like an amalgam of paragraphs here. Okay, I'm running out of time here, unfortunately. I've got to go to another meeting. Again, color scheme can go a long way. Look at this template on the right here for Melissa. We added a little bit of color here, a little bit of gray or some blue, it looks like. And that significantly made the resume a lot more beautiful compared to the one on the left-hand side here. And then I have, looks like I do a deep dive in this video, so that might be of use for you as well. So please go through all those materials, check out some of those templates, because I think that's going to help bring the visuals to the next level. If we could just concern ourselves a little bit with the content here. Skills. Okay, so for skills, the focus here is what are you going to be doing on the day-to-day of your job? And that is going to be top to bottom, most relevant to least relevant. Are you applying to a job in a leadership position? I don't think the answer is yes. And so for that reason, leadership probably doesn't make sense as the first thing to put there. If you are a UI UX designer, then it probably makes sense to put that at the top. Now, here's the thing. If you are a UI UX designer, then it probably makes more sense for you to change this headline to be UI UX. And then skills UI UX, well, no shit, I'm a UX UI designer. Of course I'm skilled in UI UX design. Well, what would I put there instead? This is a really great place for you to start talking about the specific technologies you're familiar with, right? So that might be Adobe Illustrator, right? Or something like that. Maybe Unity game to Google Play. Guess what? Don't need Unity there, because I know you do Unity. You did it right here on your project at XI Media Labs. And that's a way better way to explain your experiences. In context, or rather, let me rephrase that. That's a way better way to show your skills. The best way to show your skills is in context of your work experience. So I would love to see these skills integrated into the work experience. And if you have no experience with a skill, then how do I know you're very skilled with it, right? I mean, maybe there's something you can make up, but if it is a skill of yours, you probably have experience that you could speak to on it. Otherwise, if you have no experience in a skill, then it's not a skill, is it, right? So that's something to consider. Okay, education, Full Sail. Oh my God, Full Sail is a great game school. This might need to be a little bit higher up. A lot of people are going to recognize that. And you have a bachelor's in game design. Holy shit, that's an affirmation that you know what the hell you're talking about, isn't it? That should be way higher. This education thing should probably be where your skills previously was, front and center at the top here. Interests, video games. Well, no shit. Do you know what company you're applying for? Delete that. It's just silly. Playing guitar. Me too, pal. I got a guitar as well. I think that's awesome. That's a fun interest to have there. eBay reselling. Okay, that sounds like some fun stuff to talk about. Might be nice to say something a little bit more bespoke than just playing video games, you know? Maybe playing a video game that's exactly the kind that the company you're applying for makes. That might be useful. And any other ideas here? Okay, unfortunately, I do have to go now. But hopefully this is a few ideas just to get you started, okay? I have to say, the portfolio is in a really rough shape. I would love for you to take another crack at this. So I have a guide on this. because unfortunately I do have to go. I'd love to give you some more advice, but I've got to jump out really quick. Check out this guide, okay? It's called Hacking Internships. It's a small free book I wrote. It's basically just a Google Doc that goes through how to get your first internship in the games industry. You can find it at this website, which is tinyurl.com/hackinggamesv2. So you can go to this link, check it out, and I want you to go down here to the portfolio section, which looks like it's on page 4. And I've got a lot of shit here. Sorry, it's a little bit sloppy. But I want you to read this section because there's a lot of great stuff for you to learn there. And then I'd love for you to look at example portfolios, okay? So over here, I've listed a link where you can see portfolios from the CMU, right? That's Carnegie Mellon University. You can look at their portfolios and see, you know, what this guy's a tech artist, so that's not exactly what you do. But you could look at his portfolio, you could look at his website, and you can compare it against your own and start to see how you do in the applicant pool. And I think that's all very relevant for you to consider because these are the people you're going up against, right? People like Rowan who have that beautiful resume. So I'd consider that and just start working on that because I think this portfolio is going to get a lot better when it has context of like how good it could be. So I'd love for you to get just a little bit more reference points on that. And then again, this is a great opportunity for you to find a template. Find somebody's resume or a portfolio that you really like, and then I'd say seek to replicate it in some way. Take components from different portfolios. You know, maybe get a short list of 3 or 4 that really stand out to you, and then design your website in pursuit of that goal, a unified vision between several that you like. You know, great artists combine the work of previous artists. You know, so something like that. And a little note here is I would say definitely either get a website where like Weebly maybe where you don't have to have this annoying thing here because every inch is going to count here and the inch at the top of the page is certainly relevant. So I got to say this is a little bit of a pain in the ass, or if it's $10 a month for the month that you are applying to jobs or 2 months or 3 months, however it is you're on the job market, then give them the $30 so that they don't put this thing there because it does look unprofessional, unfortunately. And I understand we're on a student budget here, but again, if it's just for a few months, I think that might be worth a while as an investment because it can go the extra mile because right now it doesn't look fully professional having this advertisement basically on your website. So unfortunately I do have to go, so I apologize if I'm cutting it short a little bit there, but thank you so much for sending this in. Hopefully these are some tips that are going to be helpful for you on your journey, and I highly encourage you to take a look at some of those references because I think they're going to definitely pay off on the path of creating an amazing portfolio and an amazing resume as well. So good luck, and I look forward to hopefully working alongside you one day, okay? And yeah, that's it. Let me know if you update it. That'd be great to know. Oh, and if anybody else is watching this video and you have some advice for Joshua, just drop it in the comment section. I'm sure he'd appreciate that, right? At the end of the day, we're all a team here, right? And we want everybody to achieve their dreams and get a job in this awesome industry. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.